need to enter your account username and password. So if I enter this is just an account that is present on the system. Okay, sign in, going to log into my account. This is a dashboard which we will look at later on. First, I want us to look at the settings page. Let us go over roles and permissions and user. If I go to authorization here, you will see the various roles on the system. Now these roles, there are some system roles, and the school has to create its roles and assign permissions to them. These are permissions here. You can see create user, read user, update user, delete user, reset user, and so on and so on. For example, this role anonymous has no permissions. No permissions here. That means this anonymous cannot create a user, cannot read a user, and so on. Oh, look at what that means in a second. So these are permissions. If I come to manage roles here, we see the roles present on the system. The roles with locks on them are system roles. We can't delete system roles, and we can't edit them. So you can see this is a role admin, the super administrator, which the school has nothing to do with. An anonymous role, which is the role with no permissions, the default role. Now we can add a role. You can say, let's say bossa, the boss of the school. You can say this is the boss. We come to manage roles. We'll see that we have bossa here, and we can edit that, and also we can delete that here. We delete this confirm dialog is going to pop up, and if we confirm, it's going to delete. I don't want us to delete it now. If we go to manage permissions, we can assign permissions to this bossa role. We can say the bossa can let me go to role like fees. The bossa collects fees. Okay, you can see this permission here, read fee. We can assign this by clicking on this checkbox. You see permission successfully added. Export fee, update fee. So the bossa will be able to read fee or export fee data or update fee records. This is what roles and permissions mean. Now if we go to users, we see that there's just one user on the system, and the role of the user, John Peterson, which is the account which I am currently logged into. The role is admin, so he has the permissions. Now we can change the role by just clicking on this. You see, are you sure you want to do this? If we confirm, it's going to change the role, and you have, when you change the role of the user, you're going to have the permissions associated with that role. So that's what this means. That's what role and permissions mean. And this you see here active showing a green check, showing that my account is active. If my account is, if I have the permission to deactivate the user, I deactivate this user, I will not be able to, if an account is deactivated, that account will not be able to, the user of that account will not be able to log in until the account is activated back. So that is the use of activating and deactivating user. I reset the password of the user of my account, because this is how you can only do this for your account. Let me activate this back, and I can delete the user if I have the permission to delete the user. To confirm the user is going to be deleted. So the school administrator, like the principal, will have the permission to act a user. So to add a user, you just provide the, I'll just give a, say John, username John, give an email ID. Can select a photo. So if I come back to manage users, you see that a new account was created, a role anonymous. This is the default role, and this role has no permission. So if I log into John's account, I have no permission. I can't do anything on this system because anonymous role has no permissions. If we come to authorization and go to manage permissions, you see that anonymous role has no permissions. It's just the default role of the system. So with that said, we have looked at users and authorization. The next thing I want us to look at is profile. The profile. If you come to profile, here you can change your profile picture by clicking on that pencil and select a different photo. I'm not going to change my profile photo. In fact, I'm going to change my profile photo. You can change your name by clicking on the pencil here to say you want to edit. You can change your name, change the username, and make sure that the username is unique, and the email. And when you're done, you can click update. It's going to update. You can also change your password. You can reset your password here, or you can change your password. And then when you're done, you click update password. Simple as that. Let's go to school details. Now, the user with the permission to update school details will be able to update this. You can change your school logo, school name, school code cannot be changed, slogan, and all this other information. You can change them. And when you're done, for example, if I do this, you can update this. Only the user with the permission to update school details will be able to update to work on this page. So this is what school details is. If we go to terms, these are just the various terms of the school, like the first term from this date to that date, and you can see that the green one is active. So currently this is the first term, second term is not active, third term is not active. So these are terms, the terms of the school. Moving on to academic year, you see academic years, that all the academic years for which this application has been licensed for the school. So 2022-2023 has ended, and we are currently in 2020-2024. That's ongoing. We can switch to the old academic year and we will have access to the data of the previous academic year. So by switch, you just click on this switch below the academic year, as I've just done now. If we go back to the application, all of the records will be records of 2022-2023. As simple as that. Now I'm going to go back to 2023-2024 because this is the current year. Now that we have looked at some important facets already, let's look at language. You can just change the language here. For now, there's just English and French. If I click on French and save, the system is going to change to French. As you can see, everything is in French. But let's go back to English. The next thing is backup and restore, which you have to contact us for this. We'll look at these other items later. But now let's go back to the home page. This is a dashboard. When you log into your account, this is what you are going to see. This is the dashboard. These cards just show basic information, some information about the school, like the number of users on the system. As you saw earlier, we have created 2 users. We have 2 users now on this system. 8 teachers, 22 students, 7 guardians. We have a card for license information showing the number of days left for the license to expire. When that license expires, you will not be able to use the application until you have renewed that license with us. Now, you have recent messages. Messages that have just been sent by teachers or guardians. As you can see, this is a recent message that came in November 17, 2023 from John Doe. Greetings, I just did my submission. Recent activities. Earlier, we changed the language to English and we changed the language to French. You can see French here. And some other recent activities I did, like you change the active academy year to 2020, 2024. So this is what this card displays. Displays what you have just done. We scroll down, we'll see submissions done by teachers. Submissions are marks and exam that teachers have conducted and then submitted them to the school. You see student fee status, which is a card that shows the number of students that have completed fees, number of students that have not paid, and the number of students that have paid but not complete. So you see incomplete, number of students 1, complete 2, unpaid 19. The next card is income and expenses. So the income is the green, is in the green color, and the expense is the gray color. So if we hover on the green side, you see income 265,000 and expenses 47,500. The first thing I want us to look at is the classes. If I come to classes here, all the classes that the school has created will be displayed here. Now these are just some classes that we have already created just for the sake of this tutorial. You see the name, the code, fees, and subclasses. Now, first thing, I want us to create a class. I'm going to add new. To create a class, click on this add new button here. You're going to be brought to this add new page. You need to enter the name of the class. I will just say new class. This is just a tutorial, so new class, I'll just say NC for the code. And then fees, let's say the fees of this class is 50,000. Put the switch below on in order to add a subclass, in order to add subclasses. So if I switch this on, we'll be able to add subclasses. If this class has subclasses, we can add that. So we can say add subclass name, let's say new class A, and then the subclass goes to say NCA. Let's just say this has just one subclass and save. Now we have saved this. If this class does not have any subclass, so if this class was just a single class on its own, we will not need to push this switch. We will just leave this switch off and then click save to save. So I put the switch on because I wanted to show you how to create a class with subclasses. But let me just do new class 2, NC2 to create a class without a subclass. Yes. So if I come to view all, if I click on this view all button, we'll see new class. This class that we just created with the subclass, which was new class A, and we'll see the other one that we created with no subclass as new class 2. Now, these buttons at the right of each class are to edit and delete respectfully. If I click on this pencil icon, it's going to take me to a page where I can edit the information of that class. So I can change that class into new class edited. Just say that. But we can't edit the subclasses. If we have to edit these subclasses, then we'll just need to delete the class and create it back. But if we just want to edit the code, name, or fees, then we can just edit this and save. When we save, we see now that the class was edited. As you can see, new class edited. The trash icon at the right is to delete the class. So if I click on this trash icon, it will delete the class. click on this one to do the class. Now, it should be important to note that classes can only be deleted if there are no students, no subjects, and no submissions attached to them. So these classes have one of the above that I've mentioned attached to them, one or more. So if I try to delete the class here, you see you cannot delete this class because it's attached to some students, subjects, submissions, and settings. So we'll see some of those settings later on, but this is just all for classes. If I want to export this data to an Excel file, I can click on this export button here, and we'll see the dialog export class data to Excel document. Click confirm. You don't have to edit this. You just need to, if you edit this here, it's not going to save. So you just have to save with the default name, and you can edit later on. So I'll click save, and then if I come to that location, you see classes 2023, 2020. If I open that, you see all the classes data from 1, code, fees, subclasses, and all of that. That is that for classes. Each module, the search bar here where you can search for a class. So if I'm looking for from theory, if I search from theory, we will see that particular class you are searching for. Now, each class, each module on this system has a help tab, a help page. As you can see, there's a help button here. If I click on this help button, it's going to give me some basic important information like viewing all classes, adding classes, managing classes, exporting data, and help. So you can read about the particular module on this help page, and you can search for example, if I search for viewing, you see that particular tab comes up. So there's a view, there's a help button there's a help page for each module. That is important. It's important to keep that in mind. So after classes, the next thing I want us to look at is subjects. If I come to subjects here, click on subject below classes, we see some subjects already on the system for the sake of this tutorial. We can search for subjects as we did in classes. We can filter the subjects by class. So I can click on this class input, add this class input, and then choose the class. Say from theory, it's just going to bring up only the subjects offered by from theory. That's what filtering means. The same buttons, the buttons at the side have the same functions. The pencil is to edit, and the trash icon is to delete. To add a subject, we go to the add new, provide the information needed, name, code, coefficient, which is a number, select the class. Let me just add a subject like, let me say chemistry. Chemistry's code is chem. The coefficient, which is a number decided by the school. So let me say the coefficient is 3, and this subject is for 4. Click continue. You select the periods for which that subject is taught. So to add periods, you click on this extra periods button, and we are going to provide a day, from time, and to time, and we are going to click save. Once you do this, a subject is going to be created. I'm not going to do that for the sake of time, but if we come to view all pages, to view all page, and let's take this first subject as an example. Clicking on this arrow at the left is going to extend that row, and we will see the periods for which that subject is taught. So you see Monday from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 and so on. The code, coefficient, and class. Click on the pencil icon. It's going to take you to the edit page. edit the information, and if you click on the delete, it's going to ask you to delete. Now, you can't delete a subject if that subject is currently attached to some students and some submissions. If I click on this confirm to delete a subject, it's going to tell me you cannot delete this subject because it's attached to some teachers, students, and submissions. If this subject wasn't attached to any of these modules, then it's going to be deleted. So that is important to note. We can export this as we saw in classes. If we click confirm, it's going to export. And we can, as I said earlier, there's a help button for every module. You can go to the help and read some important information. That's that for subjects. Next thing I would like us to look at is the guardians module. Let's go to the click on guardians. Guardians are parents. Every parent of a student. Every student must be attached to a guardian. So click on this guardian page. You can see guardians are displayed visibly in rows as cards with the name and email. So first one is Ali Jane. Her email. You can use these buttons for the full information. And there's a status on that guardian, active. What does this status mean? Now, this application has a mobile application. This system has a mobile application. Guardians accounts are created when a guardian is created on this system. If that guardian is marked as inactive, that guardian won't be able to log into his or her account on his or her mobile phone. So these guardians being active mean that these guardians have access to their account and they can log in. To change the status of a guardian, you have to click on this small icon, this small button below the guardian. So if you click on it, you see, are you sure you want to change this guardian status? So I click on confirm. You see now that this guardian is marked as inactive, meaning that this guardian cannot log into his or her mobile account. So on this same page, we'll see the search, which is just search for a particular guardian. If I search, you see bringing up what we are looking for. There is an email or mobile login details button here. What does this mean? When a guardian is created, a unique code for that guardian is created automatically, which is used by the guardian to log into his or her account together with the school code and the server-based URL. So clicking on this email or mobile login details is just in case the guardian has not received his or her login details in his or her email. When a guardian is created, these login details are automatically sent to that guardian's email. So if that does not happen automatically, the school can come. You can click the user. If the user has the permission to do this, he or she can come and click. For example, I'm logged in as John Peterson, and this button being active means that I have the permission to email or mobile login details. So if I click on this button, you see the dialog asking, do you want to email mobile login details to all guardians with valid email? If I click on confirm, it's going to send all login details to every guardian to their emails. But now I'm not connected to the internet, so that was not done. As you saw the error, let me just do this again so you see the email not sent. Please ensure you are connected to the internet. If I was connected to the internet, the mobile login details of each of these guardians will be sent to their emails. That is all that button does. Now, let's to add a new guardian, we go to add new. Provide the information: name, email, gender, telephone to address, and occupation. Now, once that is provided, we click on continue. You can change the image here by clicking on the pencil icon on this default avatar, and we'll be able to select an image from your computer. If not, you can allow this as the default and click save, and that guardian will be created. I'm not going to do this just for the sake of time. And there is also a help page, just like for every module, where you can come and read. And if you click on view all, you are going to see all guardians. Now, if we click on a particular guardian, let me click on Alex Jones. This is the view page for a guardian, where you can edit some information. You see the edit tab. You can edit the information of the guardian here, change the picture, email that specific guardian, to email that guardian's mobile login details with this button, send a message to the guardian, email the guardian, or delete the guardian. You cannot delete the guardian if that guardian is attached to a student. So I try to delete, and you see this error. You cannot delete this guardian because there are students attached to him or her. So let us look at the edit tab. This edit tab simply is just, you can change the information that you enter here. You see Alex Jones, you can change that. Alex Jones, email, gender, telephone, and so on. Clicking on this children tab, you will see all the children of that guardian or parent. So you see Curtis Jones from 2, Mavis Jones, Peter Jones, and so on. These are the children of that guardian. Only the guardian's children will be shown here, and these children are students. If I click on this view button at the side, it's going to take me to the view page of that student, and that student is the child of this guardian. That is what this view does, but I'm not going to do that now. So if I click on this email mobile login details, it's going to send the login credentials of this guardian to his or her email. So if I click on confirm, I'm not connected to the internet, so this is not going to work now. Clicking on see message, the messaging the system is able to send messages to the mobile application, and that is the message is called a see message. If I click on see message, it's going to take me to the page where I can send a message to that guardian. So you can see from the school code, this is the school code to this is the guardian code, and you can enter the message here and send. We'll look at messaging later on, but if I come back here and click on email, we'll be taken to a similar page, but this is to send emails to the guardian's email. See the subject, body. When you enter this information and click send, it's going to send an email. But we are going to look at messaging later on. That is that for guardians. Now this guardian module is similar to the teachers module. If I click on teachers here, the same concept. Add the status, name, email. You can change the status of the teacher, just like in the guardian. Email, mobile login details, just like in the guardian's module. This cannot send these emails now because it's not internet. We can add new teachers, provide information. Now there's a difference here. To create a new teacher, after clicking on the add new button, provide the information and click continue. When you have provided all of this information and click continue, you have a new tab here, subject tab. Now this subject tab is to select the subjects taught by that teacher. So here all subjects created by the school will be shown here, and you have to select the subjects taught by this teacher. To select a subject taught by this teacher, you have to click on this button. As you can see, there's a hover information. When I hover on this button, you see select. If I click on this plus icon, that subject has been selected. I can unselect this subject by clicking on the minus. So that's how you select the subject. Clicking on the plus icon. So what this means is that this teacher is teaching English 1, Biology 1, Maths 2, English 2, and Biology 2. That is what that means. To remove a subject, I click on the minus and that subject goes away. Now, if I click on continue, the same thing, you can select an image or just click save to use the default. That is that for creating teachers. When that teacher is created and you want to view all, that teacher will be displayed here just like these other teachers as a card. And the same thing, you can search for teachers, export teachers, go to the help and read about navigating through the module and so on. Let's go to a particular teacher. Let's open a teacher like Brian Pierce. There's an edit tab to edit the teacher like we saw in Guardians. We can change the image. There's a subject tab. Going to this subject is going to show you the subjects taught by the teacher, which you can edit. You can see that the teacher is teaching English 1, English 2, and English 3, indicated by this minus. A minus on the subject means the teacher is teaching that subject, and if we click on that minus, it's going to unselect that subject, which I don't want to do now. But you can add new subjects. You can see subjects are added, or remove the subjects just like that. Easy. Let's move to the submissions tab. On this submissions tab, now when teachers conduct or carry out evaluations, which are tests or exams, they submit their marks through the mobile application, through the Cilantro mobile app. And those submissions, these are the submissions. When the teacher does the submissions, it's going to indicate on the system here. You can see this teacher did a submission for the first term for Form 1. The subject English 1, total mark was 40, and the submission type was test 1, which is 20%. And that submission is pending. We'll look at submissions later on, but this just shows the submissions done by the teacher and the status. So this submission has not been approved yet. They are all still pending. We'll look at what that means later on. Now the same buttons here, the buttons here are same as the Guardians module: email, mobile login details, send a message, send an email, or delete the teacher. A teacher cannot be deleted if it is attached to submissions. If it is attached to submissions, as you can see, you cannot delete this teacher because there are submissions attached to him or her. That is that for the teacher's module. Now let's move to students module. The students module here, the students module. Students are displayed as cards like this. You see Paul Smith and the class under. We can search for a student and we can filter the students by class. As you can see, these are from 1 student. If I go to click on Form 2, it shows Form 2 students, Form 3, Form 3 students. If I want to see all the students without filtering, I cancel what is in this filter box. You can see all the students now. I can search for a particular student. Let me say search for Mark. That student comes up. That's just all about this page. Now there's a help button as usual to read about the module. You can export the students as usual, and you can add a new student. Now, adding a student, you need to provide the full name, date of birth, gender, email if available, telephone if available. You need to select the guardian, an address, class and subclass. Now, once you have provided the full name, let me just say JJJ. Select the date of birth, the gender, leave this. So you need to select the guardian. So guardians must be created first before students. So if I click on this drop down, we'll see all the guardians in the school. If this student's guardian was Jake Henry, then I will click on Jake Henry here. Select the student class, which are the classes on the system, and then select the subclass. And that's that. You can continue. There's a subjects tab to select the subjects offered by the student. But this is done automatically. Now if I go back, you see that I have said that I have selected Form 5. Let me select Form 1. Selecting Form 1 means that this student is a student of the class Form 1. And let me select a subclass which is Form 1A. Now I have selected Form 1. If I continue on the subjects tab, automatically the subjects offered by that student, the subjects of Form 1 are automatically associated to that student. As you can see, all the subjects of Form 1, you can see subjects of Form 1, Maths 1, English 1, Biology 1, have already been selected automatically. You can edit this, but most likely you will just have to continue because the subjects of Form 1 have already been associated to the student. If we said that child was in Form 2, then subjects of Form 2 will automatically be associated to the student, and so on. We can edit this, but most likely you would like to continue. So scrolling down, we'll see other subjects which you can add if that child is doing other subjects other than the subjects of his or her class. Now if we continue, we can change the image, the profile image, or we can just save to use the default. That is how the student is created. Click on the view all page. Once you have created that student, the student is going to show here, and that is that for the student's model. Now let us look at the view page. If I click on a student, let me click on Pause Meet. This is the view page, which looks similar to the teachers and guardians view page. We'll see the edit page, which is not new at this point. You can edit the student information here. Subject page, you can edit the subjects offered by the student here. Now there's a new tab here which we have not seen before. It's the marks page. When a teacher does his or her submission, every student's mark is going to show on his or her page. Now this is Paul Smith. These are the marks of Paul Smith for his subjects that he's doing. He's doing Maths 1 and the submission was done. His score was 16 on 20 for that test 1. For test 2 he had 19 on 20, and so on. So every submission, every mark for that student will be displayed like this. And if that submission was approved, then it's going to show a tick instead of an X sign here. So this X sign means this submission this mark has not been approved by the school yet. The administrator, if I'm logged in as John Peterson, and I am able to see these things because I have the permission to do so, as we saw earlier, roles and permissions. The school will set up permissions for their users. That is to be done by the school. So if I click on edit here, able to, maybe the teacher made a mistake and he has sent a message to the school to edit that. We can edit that here. We can message the teacher directly from here or send an email, and that is that for the students module. Just a quick recap of this view page. The marks page shows the marks of that student for all his or her subjects, which can be edited. And you see a publish results button here disabled. When results are out and that student's result has not been published, maybe because he or she is paying fees, is owing fees, and that student pays his or her fees, then the school can come and publish that student's results here, because automatically the student's results will not be published if the student is owing fees. We will see what that means later. We can delete the student if the student is not attached to any submission, but for now we can't because the student is attached to, there are some submissions attached to him or her, to him in this case. And that's all for students module. Now the next thing I want us to look at very quickly is fees. Click on fees. We'll see the fees status of the students. Now you see Paul Smith of class from 1, fees amount paid is 100,000, and that status is complete, meaning Paul Smith has completed his fees. Mavis Jones has completed her fees. Samantha E has an incomplete fee. Clicking on this edit button at the side is going to bring us to this page. Now we can see this will likely be the permission of the bursar. So we can enter the amount paid by this student. Now if I say 0, total amount required, as you can see below, for this class, total amount required is 100,000. If I say 0 and save, we see now that Paul Smith has a fee status of unpaid, which is 0 francs. If I say Paul Smith paid 10,000, you see that it's incomplete. He has paid 10,000, but it's incomplete because the total amount required is 100,000. If I say Paul Smith has paid all of the 100,000, then that is when we get the fee status of complete, and that is that for fees. We can filter fees by the status. If I click on this filter here, we can filter by complete. It's going to bring up all the students that have completed. Incomplete brings up all the students with incomplete fee status. Paid, and bring up students paid status. We can filter by class 2 to say from 1 students who have completed. You see Paul Smith shows up. We can search for a student, Paul Smith, search, and that's that. We can export the data as usual to an Excel document, and we can read about this module in the help page. And that's that for fees. Now let's look at income. Very easy. It's here we just record money entering the school. For example, we receive a grant amount 20,000. Description. We save that. We see this. We see it here. So this is just to record income. The income, just to create income records of the school, keep track of the school income. And that's how we add a new income. We can edit by clicking the pencil icon on that card. We can edit and say free grant from somewhere. If I save, we see that has been edited, and we can delete by clicking on the trash icon. And that's that. We can export the data as usual. You can search for for specific records titles, specific record titles. So the title here is grant, title here is spot price. Those are the titles. So if I search for spot price, you see that shows all the spot price. That's what search does. We can read about that, about the module in the help page as usual. And that's all for income. Expenses functions exactly the same way. Edit, delete, create. Now expenses is how money is leaving the school. As you can see, for example, this expense. The school bought shares for 47,500. So expense is money leaving the school. The school is able to keep track of expenses with this module. We can export the data as usual, and we can read about the module. We read about the expense module here, and that's that for expense module. Let's move to discipline. This will likely be the functionality of the discipline master or the user in charge of discipline. Create discipline records. For example, we can say select the student. The first thing you do is to select the student. So I can select pause meet, continue, offense, maybe pause meet, dodge classes on Monday. So these are discipline records. Continue details. Now this is the verdict. So how many hours of punishment was he given for dodging those classes? I can say he was given 2. Any warnings? Maybe not. 0. Total days of suspension? 0. That student was not suspended. Now we have everything that we need to create a discipline record. We click on save, then that record is created. If we come to view all, then we see that record created. Student name, offense, hours of punishment, and that. These records can be included in the report card of that student, as we will see earlier on. Now we can edit this by clicking this pencil icon or delete the record. We can filter the records by term. As you can see, first term is active, has been selected. Filter by second term, no record for second term. First term, filter by student, filter by postmate. Yes, filter by student, filter by class. For 1, for 2, and so on. And search for records on the search item. Now, as every other module, it has a help page which you can read. You can read on how to navigate the module. And that's that for discipline. Next thing I want us to look at is inbox. When a message is sent to the school from a guardian or a teacher, is going to show in this inbox. As you can see, the inbox item had a red badge showing 1, meaning that there's a 1 on red message. Now this message came from John Doe, saying at the right we can clicking on this, is going to click on the profile to increase the size of this panel. Now if the first icon here is a preview icon, the next is a delete icon, next is an email icon, and the final one is a see message icon. If I click on this view icon, it's going to show the message. Simple. Greetings, I just did my submission from John Doe. That's that. You see now that the message is no more marked as unread. It's no longer marked as unread. We can delete the message. We can reply to the message by clicking this email icon. It's going to take us to the email page, as we saw when we were talking about the guardians model, and we can click on the message page here to send a message to that teacher or guardian. Now on the inbox, it has a help page, just like every other module, a short help page to help basically, and that's that for inbox. Let's look at communicate. Clicking on communicate, which is this item here, communicate. Start with all the teachers and guardians will be displayed like this. This is a see messages page. Clicking on see messages page, on see messages button, you'll be directed to this page where you can send a see message to a teacher or to all teachers or all of them. Now if I click on this message icon on John Doe, I'll be able to send a message just to John Doe. Say hi. Yeah. When you look at the bottom, you see important switch here. Important messages cannot be deleted by their readers. Toggle the switch to make this message important. What this means is, if I switch this on and send, the receiver of this message will not be able to delete the message because the school has marked this message as important. Maybe this is very important information that the school wants to pass, and the school does not want the receiver to take it lightly. Then the school can mark this message as important, like I've done, by switching this on, and then send the message. You see that the same message has been sent successfully. If we click on history button here, you see the message that we have just sent. Hi, John Doe. We can click on view to view the message, and we can delete that history, which is not important. That's how you send a see message to a teacher, to somebody. You can do that with a guardian too. Now you can broadcast a message, so we can select all teachers and all guardians, and then click on see message all. Notice that when we select two or more, this button appears. So if I select all teachers and all guardians, we can send a single message to all of them. So we can say, hey, we can mark this as important or not. We can leave this. If this message is not important, we don't need to mark that as important. But you can see that we are sending a message to all teachers and all guardians with just one click. Now you can see that we need to be connected to the internet to do this. Once you're connected to the internet, you'll be able to send a message, and that's that for messages. If we click on the email button, exactly the same functionality. If I click on the email icon here, you can send an email. Say subject is nothing. Okay. We can do attach files. You can attach classes. You can see number of files attached and clear, or attach files. And when you are connected to the internet, you click send, it's going to send. As you can see, email not send because I'm not connected to the internet. Just like with the see message, we can broadcast the message to all of them. Now, if there were more than 10 teachers, if we look at the bottom of this table, you will see rows per page, which has the default is 10. You will have to set this to all. when you have more than 10, set this to all and then set this to all too, and then you can now do select all here and then select all here, and then you send it to everybody. You'll be sending that email to everybody like here. And if I have internet, it's going to send the email to all of them, but I don't have. So that's that. And just like every other module, Communicate has a help page where you can read more and know how to navigate your way through. So that is that for Communicate. So next thing, I would like us to look at submission types very quickly. Submission types are the types of submissions which teachers carry out evaluations for. I'll just give these examples. The submission type that we have just created here for the sake of this tutorial is test 1. For example, it can be a test, an exam, a midterm exam. Those are submission types. Now, each submission type, let's create a new submission type so we understand what it means. When you are creating a submission type, you need to select the class for that submission type. So basically, you have to create submission type for every class, or else the teachers of that class will not be able to do submissions. So to create a submission type, first of all, you have to select the class and then give a name. Maybe let's say midterm. The weight percentage. Now, what percentage is this submission type? What is the weight? We can say this submission type is 10%, meaning that when results are calculated, this midterm is 10%. That is what this means. I can describe this. Say midterm exam and save. So that's how you create a submission type. Come to view all, we see that submission type as a created midterm for Form 1. So you have to create submission types for every class. We can filter by class, just like we have seen with other modules. We can search, we can edit the information, and we can delete. We can only delete a submission type if it is not attached to any submission. If I try to delete any of these other submission types, it's going to tell me you cannot delete the submission type because it is currently being used by some submission types, by some submission. Just like every other module has a help page where you can read more about the module. And that's that for submission types. So look at submission. Now, these are submissions done by teachers from their mobile phones, from the mobile Cilantro app. These submissions can only be done if the portal is open. Let's go to settings real quick. You see submissions here. Now, the administrator with the permission to manage the submission portal can change the status. So you can open the portal, and what this means is teachers will now be able to do submissions. If this portal is closed, teachers will not be able to do submissions. So the portal needs to be controlled by the school when the teachers have to do submissions and when the teachers do, and vice versa. So I just wanted to make this clear fast. So if this is opened, teachers can do submissions from the Cilantro mobile app. If this is closed, teachers can't do submissions. So this is controlled by the school. Let's go back to submissions. Like I was saying earlier, these are submissions done by teachers. All of them automatically are marked as pending because the school has not approved yet. Let's take an example. John Doe did a submission for Form 1 for the subject Maths 1 on 20. Total marks is on 20. And the submission type, which we saw earlier, is Test 1, which is 20%. And he described that as his first evaluation. I've just gone through this, and that's how the data is going to be displayed. The buttons at the side. This export button is going to export the marks. As you can see, I've exported this. You see Form 1, Maths 1. Let's open this up and see. So you see the students and their scores. Submission type is Test 1. Paul Smith has 16 on 20, and so on. That's how you export the data. So clicking on this export button at the side is going to create that Excel document that we have just opened for any of these submissions. Now, what can we do? What can the school do with this? These submissions are used to generate results, but the school has to approve them. The school can decline a submission by clicking on this D button. On this status column, you see this row of DPA. D means decline, P means pending. As you can see, so all submissions are currently set to pending, and A means approve. Clicking on D means the school is declining that submission, and it means that the submission will not be used when generating results. As you can see, declining this submission means this submission will not be used during result generation. Are you sure you want to do this? You say yes, then you say that that submission has been declined, and this submission will not be used when generating results. If I click on P, are you sure you want to keep this submission pending, and click confirm, and that submission is going to be set as pending. Click on A, are you approving that this submission can be used when generating results? Click confirm, that submission is going to be set as approved. And when this submission is approved, let me show you what this means. We have approved this submission from John Doe. If we come to teachers and go to John Doe and go to submissions, to the submissions tab, you see that this submission was approved. You now see the status here. All the other submissions are pending, but we just approved this submission. If we come to students of Form 1, during the subject for which we approve the submission, we come to marks. We see now that the mark for that student has been approved, because we approved this. We have approved that submission. So that is how the things look like when the submission is approved. Now this is going to be cumbersome for thousands of records. We can filter by class like in other modules. We can filter by status, approved, pending, or declined. We can filter by parent. Now, if we want to see the full information, we clear all the text fields. And we can see now that we have 63 records here. Let's look at all records shown like this, but you can limit that to 10. And now clicking on this delete is going to delete the submission. So if you click confirm, it's going to delete that submission, but I don't want us to do that now. If we have thousands of records, then doing that for each of the submissions is going to be cumbersome. That is why we have these buttons here. Decline all is going to decline all the submissions. Pend all is going to set all the submissions as pending, and approve all is going to approve all the submissions. Let us approve all the submissions, because we are soon going to generate results. So if we click on approve all and click confirm, then it's going to approve all the submissions. See that all submissions have been approved. Just to prove it, if we go to any teacher and go to visual submissions, you see that have all been approved. Go to students, any student. See all approved. We are setting up all what we need for results generation. Started with submission types, which enables teachers to do submissions. Now we have to set up templates. Now these templates are used for report cards. The template with locks at the side are system templates we can't delete or edit. So if we go here, try to edit this template, we can't do that because it's system template. But let us look at the template and how to create one. Let us look at the template first. If I come here, we'll understand better when we look at it. Template type, we have to select template type, which is report sheet, and the name cannot be edited. So this is the template. This is the C editor. We'll look at how to create a template first. Let's look at how to create a template first. If I go to add new, I have to choose the title. Let's say new template. The type, only one type for now, report sheet. So this is the C editor. Now if you read this, you see start typing column to show suggested placeholders. Keep trying typing to further reduce matches. These placeholders are replaced when, just like the name placeholder, they are replaced when creating results. If I type column, we see all placeholders. All placeholders. Let me cancel that and type column again. All placeholders for a report card. Let's look at some. Student full name, student email, telephone, class, and so on. We scroll, you see a lot of placeholders. Now let me just select student full name. This is how the placeholder looks like when you select it. If I save this template, I want to make it very simple so that we understand. I save this template like this and come to view all. We see that this was created. You see that there's no lock at the side, meaning it's not a system template, we can delete it. If we edit this, what this means is if we use this template when generating results, every student's full name will be inserted at this corner where we put this template. So if we let me shift this. If we shift this like this and put it down somewhere here, this means that when for every student's report sheet, the student's full name will be down here. That student's full name. For example, Paul Smith's name will be here. So when the report sheet is being generated, we're not going to see student of full name like this. We are going to see Paul Smith on the report sheet, and we are going to see what I mean by that. That is what templates do. We can delete this template because we already have a lot of templates. Let's look at a sophisticated template now. These are Cilantro default templates. So let's look at what I was saying earlier. So this template has school logo, meaning that the school logo will be inserted here, the school name here, code here, address here, and so on. You can see that the template is sophisticated. Student date of birth, student full name, gender, class, academic here. This is result of student result, meaning the student's results table will be here. We are going to see what all of this means. Creation date, head row, school stamp, and school signature. This is what the template is, the real template. Now, like every module, it has a help page where you can read about how to navigate your way through. And if you look up here, you see placeholders. You can create custom placeholders. I can say new placeholder, and then say like this is if a placeholder is not in the system. It's not a system placeholder. Maybe the school wants a new placeholder called proprietor name. You can say proprietor name of the proprietor. Then the school can add that template. And what this means is when this placeholder is included in a template, a space is going to be reserved for the proprietor name to be entered, because the proprietor name is not on the system. System placeholders are on the system. For example, this placeholder, teacher of first name, it means every teacher's first name is in this system. But for this custom placeholder we have just created, the proprietor name is not on the system, so a space on the template is going to be reserved for the proprietor's name to be entered manually. That is what this means. We can delete this and create new and create just as we have done. So that is that for templates. Now that we have templates, submission types, and approved submissions, we have almost everything we need to generate results and report sheets. So we come to results and promotion item here. We are going to see an empty page. Let's move from right to left. If we go to the help, click on the help button, takes us to the help page where you can read. Go to the view all, takes us to this page. We can export results, but as you can see, there is no available data, so there's nothing to export. We can generate results. We can't because we have not configured grading settings, which we will do. Publish results, we can't because there are no results. Now, the last and final thing we need to generate results is the grading settings. If we click on generate here, it's going to tell us please configure grading settings for every class on the settings page. We have to come to settings and come to grading and promotion here. So all classes will be displayed with two text fields. If we read the placeholders, we will see promote student if his or her average is more than or equal to promote student 2. What this means is Form 1, for example, I want every student of Form 1 only promote the student if his or her average is more than 10, and promote that student to Form 2. So promote Form 1 students to Form 2. Form 2, we can do the same, promote to Form 3, Form 3, promote to Form 4. Now this is to be decided by the school. So Form 4, promote to Form 5. Promote to lower 6. Lower 6, promote to upper 6. Now this is an interesting thing to note. promote students from upper 6 with average of more than 10. Now, upper 6 students are not promoted to any class. This is the last class. So that the students of that class have finished. So if you look down, you see a finished item, meaning that these students have completed, have no longer, once they pass, once they have an average of 10 or more and are promoted, they are no longer students of the school, they are finished. So the last class should always have finished, not promote to another class. They should be finished. And once we have set this up, we have to save. And now we have saved. Now that we have saved, we can come back to results and promotion. And we have everything we need to generate results. To generate results is just a series of clicks. Click on generate results. We are going to be asked generate results for all students. Confirm. Now we just wait for the magic to happen. And notice how fast that is. You see that all student results have been generated. If we click on this arrow, we are going to see the other records. Let's go over it real quick. So this is in order in the hierarchy in terms of average. So you can see the highest student is Mavis Jones with 18.62 of. She's from 2. She obtained 277.5 on 300 marks total. She's the first in her class. You can see class rank here, first 1 out of 4. Overall rank, she's the best student, 1 out of 10. Remark is excellent, and she has passed. That is why a tick is shown. Let me look. Now this is in order as we have already established. We can filter by class from 1 results, 2 results, and when we are exporting, it is going to be exporting data based on our filters. It is important to note this. Same for other modules. When we are exporting data, it is exporting based on our filters. So if I export now, it's going to export only this data. It's not going to export all data. If I want to export all data, then I have to remove all filters and then export. But we can filter by class, we can filter by status, we can say show us only the students who have passed and show us all students who have failed. Notice that when a student fails, the column pass or promoted is going to show an X, not a check. So remark is poor, average is low. And how the grading is based on our settings. So we said that a student of Form 3 should only pass if his or her average is more than 10. This student has 9.31, and that is why the student has failed. So the settings, all of this is done based on our grading settings, based on the settings which the school has put in place. If we look here, we see 2 buttons at this side. Let's just export results and see how it looks like. So I come and open results. We see results, no big deal. It's the same thing like we saw earlier. So marks obtained, average, class position, and so on. But that's how results look like when they are exported. If I had filtered, if I have filtered like this and exported, then it's going to export only results of Form 1. So it's just going to be 4 records. That's what I was trying to explain earlier. Now, we see 2 buttons here, report sheets and view statistics. First of all, let's go to view statistics. These statistics are just to show the statistics of the results for that term. As you can see, for the selected term, let's go back here. These results have been generated for the first term only. this is first term results. If I click on second term, you see that there are no results. These submissions and results are for first term. So if I click on second term and I go to statistics, it's going to tell me that there are no results. So we have to select first term, for which we have results, and then view statistics. So you can see some statistics: number of students passed or promoted, number failed, percentage passed, percentage promoted, class profile. For each class, the number of students passed, percentage, the class average, highest student average, lowest student average, and so on. Just statistics for those results. And then we have student profile, the top 3 students in the school and the last 3 students. So these are just statistics for that result, for that term results. Yeah, so this is statistics for the first term. So the next thing is report sheets. No, actually first we need to publish results. Now that we have results, we can publish. But there's something we need to do before we publish. We need to go to results publishing settings. So we come to results publishing settings here. The school can put settings. So we can see the first one: publish student results only if fee status is complete. So if we allow this as checked, results are only going to be published for a student if that student has completed her fees. If I cancel this, then every student's results will be published. If I put this, only students who have paid fees completely will be published. The next one is publish student results if student fee status is incomplete. If I check this, then it's going to ask me for what amount. What this is saying is which amount should we accept before we publish that student results. So if I say 50,000, that means students who have paid at least 50,000, who have paid at least 50,000 will have their results published. But by default, this is unchecked. But I just wanted to say that it's possible for a school to do that. The last one is allow guardians to download report sheets on mobile. This is set to false by default because many schools won't want parents to be able to download report sheets directly. But if the school allows this, checks this, that means guardians can download student report sheets on their mobile phones. Guardians can download their children only. Guardians have access to their children only. That is important to note. Not all students, to their children only. If we check this, that means that guardians can download report cards as PDF for their students. But if this is unchecked, that means they can only view, but they cannot download. They can only view the results and the report sheet on the mobile app, but they cannot download. So with that said, we save our settings, and now we can come and click on the publish to publish these results. We publish results. Results have been published. Nothing is visible, but what this has done, it has made available to guardians on the mobile phones. Students who have their results published have the data has been the parents have access to this data. That means, for example, I'm a guardian of I'm Paul Smith. Let me say I'm Paul Smith's guardian. Paul Smith, if we go to fees, we see that Paul Smith completed his fees. So his results have been published. What this means is I, as a guardian, I have access to Paul Smith's results. If I go to the Cilantro mobile app, I can see results for Paul Smith. If Paul Smith's results have not been published, I am going to be told on the mobile application that I don't have access to Paul Smith's results because his fees has not been completed. So that is what publishing results does. So for all the students with unpaid fees, their results are not available to their guardians by extension. And to show this, if I come to students, let's go back to fees. Let's say Raina Blue had not paid. After the results have been published, she pays her fees, but the results have already been published. What the school can do is to come to students and come to Raina Blue, who has now paid, and click on publish. You are going to see this student might be owing fees. I show you how to do this, and once you click confirm, then you have granted access to Raina Blue's guardian. So Raina Blue's guardians can now see her results and her report sheet and download if permitted. But if we come to a student whose results have already been published, then we'll see that that button is deactivated by default. You see for Smith, the button is not active because his fees has already been published. So that is that for results publishing. Now let's generate report sheets. If we click on this report sheet button here, we will see select a report sheet template. So we have to select a template. Let me select a second one. Cilantro report sheet, English default. English default. Once I have this and I click generate, it is going to generate report sheets for every student using this template. Let us go back to templates. I have generated report sheets already, as we have seen the snack bar indicate. This is a template we used. Let's look at how the template is. The template has school logo here, school name, school name, student name, date of birth, and so on. Look at this template. Look at the template. Class time average. You see, so the template basically just has placeholders, just placeholders, which have to be replaced. Just take a look at the template again before we go to report sheets. Now that we have looked at that, if we come to report sheets, we'll see all report sheets. And report sheets are only generated for students that have submissions. If a student does not have marks, or marks were not submitted for a student, then the student will not have any report sheet generated. So let's look at Paul Smith. There are three buttons at the right. The trash icon is to delete. The trash button is to delete. The download button is to download the report sheet, and the view icon is to preview the report sheet. If I click on the preview icon, look at the report sheet now. Remember, we saw how the template was. We had a school logo here. You see now that the logo has been replaced by the actual school logo, the actual school name and code. Everything has been replaced for that student. Gender, name, first term, results. As you can see, these are the marks. Everything for the student, everything has been replaced. If you can remember, we created discipline records for Paul Smith. He had total 2 hours of punishment, and this is it shown on this template. His average, class profile, rank, and council decision passed, council remark excellent, date, school time, and school thing is up. So now you understand what the template is. We can download this student's report sheet by clicking on the download button. And save. If we come here, we see a PDF of Paul Smith's report sheet. Look at how beautiful it looks. Neat. So that's that. So obviously it will be cumbersome to download each student report sheet. We can filter by class, by status, students who have passed with students who have failed, and by term. But let's not filter. We just allow only term. There's a help button to read as usual, and there's a download all button. What this download all is going to do is going to download report sheet for all students. Let me delete this so we can download all. So if I click on download all, this say confirm, and I confirm, then it's going to start retrieving all the data and downloading. The names used to save the student report sheet is the code, the student's code, the term number, the student code, and the academic year. For example, this student is the term number first term, the student code NS1404S12, RS for report sheet, and then the academic year 2023-2024. Okay, so everything, all this, we can now go ahead and just be saving. Save. Okay, now let's go back here. You can see all of the PDFs. Let's open a student that failed. You can see somebody that failed. So all of the PDFs have been, all the report sheets have been downloaded as PDFs, as very good PDFs, very neat. So this is what this is. So that is, let us conclude by, there are some things here which are not important for now. For backing up your server and system, you need to contact us for this functionality. Automations are automatic, you don't need to edit that. Communication to settings are already set, you don't need to edit that. And users, we have already gone over users and what that is. So when this creating roles is up to the school. When you create a role like we did, you have to create a role and assign permissions to that role. And when you create a user, you have to select what role that user is. For example, we created Bossa. We can now say this user that we have created is the Bossa. And what that means is this user, John, has the permissions of the Bossa. So if we say create user, if we add these permissions to Bossa, to this Bossa, read user, update user, delete user, and so on. What that means is John will be able to create a user, read a user, update user. All permissions we have associated to this role, Bossa, will be able to be accessible by John. Or else John cannot do what he does not have permission to do. So to log out, you see a logout button here. Click on the logout. We're not going to log out now. If I log in as John, I will not be able to do anything which I don't have permission to do. I will not be able, if I log in as John, the only things I'll be able to do I'll be able to update user, create user like we just did, like we just assigned. I will not be able to edit a teacher. I will not be able to change a teacher's status, email, mobile, login details, add teacher, all of those things I will not be able to do them unless I have granted the permission to do so. So roles and permission is very important. That's why I'm going over it again, so that we understand it completely. So this any user with the role of author will not be able to create a user. He will be able to read a user because we have ticked that box. He'll be able to update the user. This is just an example. He will not be able to change the user status because we have not ticked the box and so on. If you look at admin, all boxes are ticked, meaning admin can do everything. So that's what role and permission is. So the school has to add roles and assign permissions to them on this page. And when a user account is created, we now have to choose a role for that user. We can deactivate the user if for some reason we don't want the user to be logging in, to be able to log into his account. You can deactivate the user just like that. You can add new users like we did earlier. Update school details. Switch between academic years like we did earlier. So if I go to 2022, 2028, let me just switch and I come back to submissions. You see that there is no submission. The active year is the year for which we are active now is 2022, 2023. So there is no submission, no results, and so on. If we had results for those years, they are going to show. The data for that year is going to show, but now we don't have. So this is how we switch between academic years. So if we switch back, then we are back to go. So that's how you use your Cilantro account as an administrator.